Hi guys, and welcome back to Milk Mummies. Today I'm joined by the brilliant Geri Spicer, a leading talent agent at InterTalent and now a proud new mum. Geri's built a career championing talent and navigating the high-speed world of entertainment, and now she's navigating something equally wild, motherhood. We're talking about the juggle, what it's like to step away from maternity leave, the unexpected lessons she's learned as a new mum, and her hopes, her nerves about returning back to work, and also how motherhood has shifted the way she sees her role, her time, herself, and whether you're in the thick of new motherhood or thinking about career transitions or just curious about what it's like behind the scenes in the agent world, this one's for you. Let's dive in. Okay, welcome, Geri.
Thank you.
Hi. Okay, before we start, guys, I just want to let you know you may hear some little sounds. You might hear a little rattle. You might even see a little head. We've got a baby in the studio today. I'm obviously very, very excited. So I'm going to do my best to be a professional, but just don't freak out when you hear. We've had babies on the show before, so you know. But anyway, hi, Geri.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. How you
Good.
doing?
I'm very hot.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Because today in the UK decided to be sunny, even though it's been grey and weird and miserable. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I didn't know how to dress today, so
Heat
we're
wave.
in the weirdest stuff. But no, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank
Coming to
you.
share motherhood and working in the creative industry.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to hear your thoughts, your insights, and everything.
Yeah.
But I guess to start, for those who don't know,
Yeah.
you are a talent agent. You're an
Yeah.
agent. Can you let us know what is involved in your role? What is life like in that space?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So being a talent agent is basically like advocating for an actor in every single respect. So you find somebody that you completely back and you like love their talent, and then you pitch them for roles, you negotiate on their behalf, you advocate for them if things come up on set, and you sort of figure out their kind of invoicing, and also you offer a lot of emotional support.
Yes.
So
Shout out to my agent. Thank you so much, Jamie. But yes.
So it's a little bit of lots of different things,
Yeah.
really.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what first drew you into the world of talent representation? Like, did you always know this was the kind of work you wanted to do?
I've always loved stories, like in like every type of story there can be, like whether that's like art or theatre or a book or, any type of story that just like really sort of shows humanity or like teaches me something about the world or humans or sort of anything like that. I've always really, really loved. And I was really drawn to storytelling. And originally I thought I was going to direct, actually. So I did a little bit of directing years and years ago. And then I went into production for a little bit. And then I sort of went into talent agency work, which really, really suits me because when I was like a teenager, I was one of those people who would watch like the same film over and over again.
Yes.
But then I'd always be like, this acting is amazing, but never wanting to be the actor.
Okay. No,
So, if you know what I
then,
mean.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, this is incredible. Like how are they doing this? Like this, like whatever scene it would be. And I would just want to watch it over and over and over again. And I would just really want to kind of support that in a way. And I think that's where I've kind of ended up. So it's kind of great.
There we go. So you're now on maternity leave, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. How has that transition been, like, from motherhood? How's that been?
I mean, it's definitely throwing you into deep water, isn't it?
Yeah. It has, and we're still there, but now we're comfortable instead deep water.
Well, exactly. I mean, for me personally, I had quite a traumatic birthing experience, and I definitely think the initial part of my maternity leave was like kind of a bit of a blur. And like looking back on it now, I think I definitely was having some symptoms of postnatal depression linked to having such a traumatic birth. And I don't think a lot of society really talks about this enough. About how much our birthing experiences can kind of affect everything and affect and actually changes us as people. Like we, as mothers, like we go through this completely seismic identity shift when we give birth. Like it is mind-blowing. Like I did not even realize how much I would change.
Yeah. I guess if you don't mind sharing a bit about your pregnancy journey, your birthing, as you said, it was quite traumatic.
Yeah. So pregnancy was a bit of like a crazy experience. And it was so we found out we were having twins. And then unfortunately we lost one of them, which was kind of a really like crazy, emotionally crazy time, because on one hand I had lost a baby, but then on the other hand I still had one. So I was like, what am I meant to feel right now? Like, am I meant to feel like sadness, but I feel guilty for being sad because I have this one, and I should be feeling joy and putting my emotion into that. So that was a bit like of a difficult time. And I think at the time, I don't think I like fully let myself feel. I was kind of just, you know, hoping for the best. And just, you know, fearful that I was going to lose him.
Of course,
for a lot of pregnancy. But then I decided to have a home birth.
Nice, okay.
And a lot of my friends had home births, and I thought, you know, this is an experience that I want to have.
Yeah.
And then which was great. And actually the home birth team, it was really lovely to see the same people like
throughout the whole process,
which I could recommend to everyone, like just do it for that anyway. And then when it came to it, I was, you know, my waters broke about 5 days early, which was, you know, great. Everything was going really, really, really well. My partner had been away for a week, and he got back, and then the night he got back, my waters broke. I don't know whether like the baby was like,
he knows daddy's home.
Or whether I was just relaxed, who knows?
That's true.
And then when my waters broke, I was like, is this my waters? Like, I have no idea what this is. So I rang up my midwife, and I was like, so this has happened. And she was like, and I was like, I don't know, I might have just like wet myself. And then she was like, do you usually wet yourself? And I was like, no. And she was like, there you go. And I was like, that's a very good point. So then then my contractions started straight away. And then I laboured at home for 2 days. I know. And then I went to the toilet, and I'd had a big bleed. So I had to go into hospital. And then it all went wrong from there. And I ended up with an emergency C-sec.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And we both got infections. So
man.
I had to stay in hospital for a week. So well, both of us did. So it was basically going from wanting a home birth to quite a medicalized situation that was like a lot of interventions, was kind of quite difficult for me to get my head round. And then furthermore, for us both to be in hospital.
Of course.
Oh my gosh, in the postpartum time, to be stuck in a hospital is very, very hard. Because you can't really like, it's really hard to kind of bond in a way, and it's hard to rest, obviously.
Yeah,
but, like,
of course, because the noises, the sounds, in your unfamiliar space.
Exactly,
as well.
But they come in every, which they have to do. They come in every
couple of hours, is it? Maybe or something to check on you.
And so, like, between both of us, we were just not resting, really.
Yeah, of course.
So it was a very different experience to the one I was hoping for, really. Yeah.
Or one that you'd even planned. So you've touched on, I guess, and I know you've touched on it briefly, but you've touched on the whole birthing process. What was I know the early days for you were in the hospital, but what was that like emotionally for you? Bearing in mind, you are used to working under pressure and working in scenarios and situations where things don't go according to plan. Yeah. How did that help you in this space at all?
I mean, I guess in a weird way, it was kind of like not helpful, because I'm so used to being like, right, this is a problem, let's fix it.
Yeah.
And like, for me, it felt like there was nothing that I could kind of do. Actually, I guess I did in a way. I remember when they came to tell me that we had to stay in hospital for a few more days, and I just burst into tears, because I was like, I can't stay in this space. Like, it was boiling hot. It was boiling hot, and it was like there was no natural light, and it was, it was so difficult. And then I just remember bursting into tears, and then my friend was actually just coming to see me, and she was like, right, let's figure this out. Like, either you can ask if you can like leave, you can ask, and you can like, let's try and figure out what we're doing here. And actually just being able just to talk it through was really helpful. And I think that is something that in a work capacity that you do, you there's a problem, and you talk it through, and you're like, right, this could go this way, or this could go this way, and like, it's really helpful. So I guess in a certain way it was helpful.
Yeah. Any transferable skills that you have to try and bring them in somehow. What's something that you weren't told about being a mum that you wish you had known before?
The thing that I find so interesting about being a mum is that, especially in our society now, nothing changes. And there's this idea that in our society of like bouncing back or fitting into those jeans or like when you're going back to work or like, you know, all of these different things. And it wasn't really, you know, before the Industrial Revolution, like birth was seen as quite a communal, postpartum period was a very communal thing where, you know, women would be kind of surrounded by their village, so to speak, but like a group of people that would help them and let them rest and recover and recoup a little bit. And then they'd like re-emerge into society as much wiser women to be able to offer that insight to other ladies. And I feel like something that the part of the reason why I think there is quite a lot of postnatal depression in, you know, around at the moment is like on one hand because we are traumatizing women in their births and you know, and which I think is really sad. And I think also because we have this culture where we think that everything that we should bounce back and that we should be the person that we were before. When we're not. We're completely changed. Like we have, you know, lent into our matrescence. And you know, the shifts that happen to us, like in terms of our brain, in terms of our body, emotionally, in our relationships, like it's so huge. And I don't think our society or, you know, sort of understands that really.
Or give space for it.
Give space for it, really. And I think, I mean, it's interesting to me because I think, how do we know how future generations are going to be? It's like how we treat the mothers of those future generations. So it's like if we're treating the mothers with the respect and kindness that they deserve, then that will in turn transfer to the children. And that's the future generations. And that's how we're going to create societies that are, you know, for strong, like more loving and kinder, and it's how we treat the mothers. And I find it, and I understand that we, you know, have, you know, restrictions because of, you know, there's not enough funding in the maternity system, for instance.
Like that,
But I do think that, you know, something does need to change in terms of, you know, how, you know, women are treated during their birthing experiences, because it seems to be not an individual story, shall we say.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
I think, no, you're right in that. It's not an individual story. I think that, yes, we have loads of differences and all that kinds of stuff. I get it. But one thing I've definitely learned on this podcast, as varied as the story is, or as varied as the experience is, we are still running the same story in a very weird sort of way.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It makes sense how we're able to learn and lean on each other so much. But if we could be better supported, or if there's systems in place that are designed for maternity, for motherhood, if they could be better supported, it all kind of feeds into this, and it's funneled into our kids. So it's true.
I completely agree. I think that the postpartum, I mean, even if you look at like our prenatal appointments, how many do we have? I think on like average low risk pregnancy,
just a few,
7 to 10, maybe a bit more.
Something like that.
And then postnatally, how many? I mean, I had like 2.
Oh my gosh, we had to.
Yeah.
We had to. One where I think they said that, you guys are fine. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
And then one that was like a bit of a chit chat, and then that was it.
And then that was it. And then it's like, there you go. But actually, like, it shouldn't be like that, because like we then have the babies, and there's so much that I wasn't anticipating that I would need support with at that time. So I do think like that doesn't offer women the support that we perhaps should be getting.
No, it's true. Has motherhood changed your sense of ambition or your relationship to work? I know right now you're on maternity, should I say, like, hi, gorgeous. You get to hang out with this little face.
Hello. True.
But yeah, has it changed or affected your sense of ambition or direction?
Definitely. Yeah. I think I've always had the like heart for my clients, if you know what I mean. Like I'm not one of those agents who's just like business. I'm like, you know, I care about my clients a lot. But I think now I have a different type of desire for the world and desire for what that looks like. And a lot of that is based on like you know, the intention of my work as well. Like, I want to make him proud. I want to make, you know, change, and for him to see that things are possible in the world. And so I think, and it's definitely given me a different drive to be like, I want to be the best I can be for him, but also be there for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, of course.
Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself viewing clients or roles or career paths through a new lens now that you're a parent? I guess that kind of touches on what you just said a little bit as well.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's, you know, the industry has a long way to go in terms of working parents. Like, I think we as a society have a long way to go in terms of working parents. Like, I know there's been some really good petitions to extend parental leave for fathers.
Yes, that's right.
That's been really, really, you know, brilliant. And I think, you know, there needs to be more flexibility for working parents. Like, statutory pay is so low. And, you know, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, I personally think it should be banded. And, like, you know, if you live in London, it should be higher.
London living.
London
that
living,
doesn't change or
exactly.
stop, no matter what happens.
We should
to you
get
as a
freedom
person.
passes whilst we're on maternity leave.
I'll take that. That's a great
Do you
one.
know what I mean?
I really like that, actually.
So good, isn't it? My friend told me that. I was like, so true. But like, yeah, you know, stuff like that I think there could be things in place that really do help working parents. Like, definitely in terms of flexibility, because I think, you know, when you look at childcare costs, it's really hard to survive.
Yeah, that
I think.
Yeah. No, it's true. Like,
yeah,
I think
exactly.
I had a guest in here who was just talking about just even doing a food shop, how that much has changed. Do you think being an agent has shaped your approach in motherhood, a random one, or vice versa?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I think, like, you know, where you've advocated for like your client, you now use those skills to advocate for your child. I also feel like when you're an agent, there's like, you're doing about 10 billion things at once. So that is definitely useful. As is, like, you know, like doing your research about things and, you know, trying to find things that are really great for your child that, you know, perhaps... and also, I'll tell you what else has been really useful is having my network of people that I know who are in the industry, who I can call upon for various different things and for advice and various different things. So it's definitely like been helpful, I'd say.
Good. I'm glad. Was it difficult to step away from your work role, that kinds of stuff, and embrace this break or not? Because I know, like, the pulse of this industry is forever on the go, like FOMO or whatever, or just being in the mix of things. Was it difficult to have that
Okay, so
separation?
do you want to know something really hilarious?
Okay.
My waters broke on the Sunday night and I was doing a deal in the bath with contractions on the Monday. I was like in the bath having like contractions, being like, I'm just going to wrap this up.
Contractions are not a joke.
Oh my gosh, they are not a joke. Luckily, they weren't like the extreme ones of like a few days later. But like, I was like, I've got to wrap this up. Like, I can't stop. And it is hard. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, even now, I'll be like, oh, my client should do that. Or like, I'll see something that comes up, and I'll be like, oh, I hope that they've been suggested for this. But I also think, like, now I'm a mum. Like, I never used to be able to step away as easily as I do now, because I've now got such a different focus and so much, and my energy has to be taken up with something else.
Of course.
And also I've definitely had a different understanding of like pause. Which I think, which is kind of ironic considering when you're a mum, it's very hard to pause. But in the terms of like just letting things breathe a little bit more, which I think when I am working, I'm always trying to get to the next thing, and now I'm just like, okay, just let it go. Like, let this just do what it needs to be.
No, it's so true, where everything is constant, it's on the go, as we are well aware on what we can see. It's true, but it does make you more present. And as you said, it does create this sense of pause. It's true. It really does, even though there's 100 things going. So it's quite nice that you've had that realization and been able to frame it in that way. Do you feel the pressure or any pressure to return to work or to the entertainment industry?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. I think, look, when you're an agent, you're like helping shape people's careers, but also your team.
Yeah.
And I do feel like it's really hard because for my clients, like they did not choose for me to have a baby.
Yeah,
Like,
that's nice.
and that's really hard for them to have to kind of, you know, be in that sort of no man's land of not knowing what's going to happen. And like, you know, this isn't the agent that I might necessarily chose.
Got you.
And all of those types of things, which is really difficult. And so I have felt a pressure to not let them down.
Got you.
And it's been like a real, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like
balancing act.
I was going to say balancing it, but that's not maybe
No,
like
it's
I
more
was going to say
like-
like being pulled in two
Yeah,
different
that's it,
directions.
that's
Like
it.
exactly, like I don't want to let them down, but then I'm also really aware of like not letting my son down.
Yeah.
And actually, like, if I'm not present for him, is that going to affect him? And like, you know, in this sort of small window of, you know, this tiny little bit of time in the grand scheme of life, if I have to do this right now, it's because this is going to help him in the future. And actually, like, he is so important to me.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear. Okay. Have you found it easy to, I feel like that's the answer. Like, are you, have you found it easy to unplug, or are you still mentally in work mode? We've got success, guys. Baby is down.
And free.
Quick, talk quick. Okay, let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
I feel like everyone's been a bit like on edge, like,
But guys, this is Milk and Mummies, so
exactly.
you know what it is. So thank you so much for sticking with me. That's so great. Anyway,
yeah. Sorry, what did you? What was
I
your
was saying,
question?
have you found it easy to unplug, or do you still find yourself mentally in work mode? I guess.
I mean, like
you touch a little bit.
A bit. You know, like, you know, I'll see things, or like, you know, a lot of my friends are casting directors, or you know, I've got lots of actor friends, and I'll see things that they're doing, and I'm like, oh,
in that space.
That's in that space a little bit. But I'm also like really trying to step into my being a mum
nice.
energy right now, because like, you know, that's important.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's enough space for mothers in the entertainment business? I guess especially behind the scenes, or in spaces where you work, where it's not necessarily camera focused or camera facing. Yeah. Do you think there is?
I still think there's a lot of work to be done in like all areas. Like it's really hard to be a working parent, I think. Like it's, you know, you are being, again, torn in loads of different, pulled in loads of different directions, and you have to make like really big decisions a lot of the time about, you know, do I need to go and do this for my child, or do I need to go do this for my client? And like, will I lose my client? And like, in a way, I feel like being behind the scenes is almost like a little bit more challenging, because if you aren't as present, then you can lose your clients, or, you know, people might think that you're not like as focused as you may be, or, you know, I'm just hear his little snores.
I know, but I love the little snores. Like, I really do. I love it.
Good.
You know that they're happy and they're content.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
They're really deeply in slumber. So you're like, oh,
yeah, you're like, oh, you
love it. Anyway,
exactly.
It's very cute.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I feel like, you know, sometimes being behind the scenes just means that you I don't know. I find it can be harder in a way.
Yeah. Okay, I hear you. Do you think motherhood has helped clarify the kind of agent and woman you want to be, or go back to? Even I feel like saying go back to is a bit redundant, because I think you're fully changed. You're in a new space. You're a new person. Yeah. So maybe not so much go back, but has it helped clarify the kind of agent you want to be?
Yeah, I think I definitely want to be clear about boundaries now. I know that that's one. Like, you know, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I do, because I feel like we are, there's a lot expected from us as agents. And I think now that I'm a mum, I definitely want to, you know, be clear about, this is my time and this is my work time. I definitely think that I can approach it with a different sense of empathy and understanding for different people's situations, particularly mothers who, you know, when they are dealing with things. I think there needs to be change within the industry for mothers being on set, and the help and support that they have within that. I think that is something that, you know, I'd love to help change. And, you know, move with a bit more intention in terms of it's not necessarily even just about my clients, it's about something a lot bigger.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you. Are there any concerns or hopes that stand out to you when you think about balancing career and motherhood moving forward? I know you've kind of touched on it a little bit already, but like, is there anything that not necessarily is worrying? Because also let me not attract that, but like, do you like? Is there anything that kind of really strikes you in terms of balance? I don't know if it'd be travel or just like, I don't know, time sensitive deals or.
No, I definitely think like travel, like going into the office.
Yeah, okay.
I do have a lot of fears around like if I leave and go into the office and then I come back,
Yeah.
I won't have seen him all day.
Yeah.
And that's really scary for me to like think that I'm going to have to do that
Yeah.
for like quite a few days of the week.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, things like time sensitive deals and stuff like that, I'm like, I'm okay with, because I'm just like, that will just part of the kind of job. And I feel like I'm kind of used to those types of things now.
Got you.
But like, I know, colleagues of mine or people that I used to work with have said that, things like, I don't know, a client's play and your son's play, or like
things
like that come
Yeah.
up. Obviously, I haven't
true,
dealt with that yet, but like apparently those types of decisions are really hard. And
I didn't think about that.
yeah,
it's
exactly. That you might miss your client's play, which is terrible because they're your client and like you've helped
Build
get them the
that-
job,
yeah,
and like, do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
are proud of them, but then like you also might miss your child's play, and that could be a huge deal for them. So
course.
it's like those types of
balance.
things that could
Yeah.
potentially come up as
It's
well.
true. I think, I guess it depends on your relationship with your agent, but I can understand how, as an actor, as an actress, where you're so used to them being there for you or working for you or working with you, that if you're not taking the time to have a fully rounded relationship with your agent and understand that they also have things outside of this space,
Yeah.
I guess I understand how, as an actor, you're going to feel a bit like, oh, what about me? What about me? But I think one thing that's great about this is kind of really understanding or just remembering your agent is a person too. They do their own things, and that's okay. And even for you yourself, having that sense of empathy or understanding as to, okay, I have an agent, they do have a family, this is how we're going to work or what it's going to look like. Because even as you as an actor or actress who has a family, this is how I want to work. So I think I hope this kind of sheds a bit more light as to what it's like, but then understanding that this relationship is so important. Like, it's so key. My agent knows I absolutely love and obsessed over him. Sorry, Jamie, but it's true. But it's also giving them space just to live their lives and just to be, if that makes sense.
No,
So
100%.
I think it's I guess maybe on the agent side, it's never like we get it, we know, and if we don't, maybe they're not the right client to have on your book, if that makes sense. Which is a bit harsh, I think. But I think there has to be a level of understanding that we're people.
Exactly.
On both sides.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So we have to have that communication, that balance there.
And I think
Random
that's
tangent, but
no,
it
I
made
love
sense.
it. No, but it's so true. And I think maybe that is something that does need to be brought up, even in signing meetings, like, this is who I am. And like, if this is the type of agent that you are okay having, like, let's go for it. But like, I will, there will be boundaries in place in terms of where my child is and like what I'm doing for my child. And I think that's the same way, the others, like with, actors saying to their agents, like, this is something that I'm doing with my child. Like, however much you think this is amazing, like, I need to do this for my child, and like, can we change things? And even things like, I don't know, like an amazing audition can come up, and I don't know, like, there's a juggling act with that.
I'm trying to think of what juggling thing I've had to do. Like, oh, I know, I love it when I'm in the moment. My partner's also in entertainment. We're doing the self-tape, we're doing the tape. And then my little one just says, just anything. Mama, I need to go poo-poo. Okay, that takes you right. Like, it is what it is. And then I think sometimes I've had to, do you know what? She doesn't want to be away from me, or it's nap time or whatever. The baby's in the scene. I get it. It wasn't written. And hey, maybe they never thought about having the baby in the scene. But like, whatever you've had to do to make it work, you do. So there is that balancing and juggling that you have to do. I do know that I know a lot of actors are afraid to speak to their agents. So I'm aware that the people may not even feel that comfortable to have these types of conversations with them. And I think I'm very lucky to have had a relatively positive experience with any agent that I've had. And I know that there are some agents who are like, well, no, this is the job, or this is what it is. So I know that there's that fine line to tread. But I hope that actors continue to get tougher. Speak to your guys. It's not a problem. And like have the conversations that you need to.
Do you know what? I'm really glad you said that, because this is something that has come up so many times that people have been like afraid to speak to their agent. I'm like,
I like absolutely scared.
Why?
Yeah.
Like I get why, but I'm also like, the fact that is the dynamic is like so scary to me, because I'm like, you guys are a team. Like you should be able to like speak about things. And like for me personally, like I know like my clients or clients I've had in the past, like we like talk and we know about each other's lives, and like, and for me that's really important, because then you can make informed decisions about roles and like, and things that come up, and be like, well, I know then, but maybe not going to like this. At least I can say like, maybe you're not going to like this, but like this is an interesting opportunity. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I find it so just speak up.
Just do it. This is our job. It's words,
Exactly.
words. Use them. It's fine. What's been one of your most unexpected joys in motherhood so far?
Just watching my baby develop. It's been like mind-blowingly like joyful, and like the love in my heart is like wild. Like sometimes like he'll just look at me and smile, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is like, I didn't know that this could be real. Like this is insane. Like, and I love that, like, you know, when he's like learning to crawl, or like he's standing up a whole lot at the moment, like I'm just like, yeah, you go on, baby, like you got this. Like, and it's so amazing to see him develop, and like his personality like shining through is just like, I'm so like proud of him all the time, and like the little things that he does, I'm just like, you are the most amazing human I've ever met.
What's been one of your biggest personal shifts, like something about you that has changed?
It's definitely like being able to say no.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's a big one, I think.
It's a big one. I think also sometimes like I'm a bit of a people pleaser, as I know a lot of people are. And I find it really difficult to just be like, no, I don't want to do that, or whatever. But now I can just be like, actually, no, I don't want to do that. And like that leans into, my friends used to have this joke about me that I would fit in like 25 things in a day. They'd be like, oh, like Geri's doing like 100 different things, like surprise. But like now I'm like, I don't do that. And I don't care.
Yeah.
And I think that's just been like a really like beautiful shift of being like, I don't have to fill my time. I don't have to like do loads of different things, because I'm very happy just like being and being like with my child, and like that's all that really matters to me now.
No, that's amazing. You actually just touched on it as well, but I was going to ask you, has becoming a mum made you more selective about your time, your energy, or even your career vision? But as you said, you're now better able to carve out your time for what you want to do and how you do it.
100%. And I think also like definitely being more selective with my time. Like I, you know, some of my friends will like be going out somewhere, and I, you know, maybe would have got FOMO in the past, but now I do not care.
Yeah. Have a great time. I'll see you later.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll see the pictures. It's fine.
I'm like, I'm in bed by 7, so, you know. Exactly. There's no chance. But yeah, no, I'm definitely more selective with my time. And that's kind of beautiful, because, you know, you have to choose and be like, this is what I could do, or this is what I could do. What is the best thing for me and my child right now? And that's kind of great for you as well. Like, one thing that's so amazing that someone told me is that your children are your teachers. Like they are here to kind of teach you something about yourself, maybe expose things within yourself that you want to change. And like your job is to adjust and to become something else through the reflection of them in a weird kind of way. And I think that is something I like to think a lot. Yeah.
Okay. We'll do a little bit of a quick fire.
Okay.
What's a mantra that's getting you through motherhood right now?
It's just a phase.
Just a phase. Nice. That was really good. What's one non-negotiable in your daily routine when possible?
Okay, so it would be omega-3.
Okay. Practical, sensible. I'm here for it.
Mainly because you know that babies take the DHA out of your brain.
Yes, they do. And
need it for themselves to grow. So part of the reason we have like brain fog is because we need more omega-3.
There we go.
And fatty, and like ghee. Ghee's an amazing one.
Okay, good to know. I haven't added that into my thing. Maybe it's too late, but I think I'll have a look into that. What's the most useful baby item you didn't know you need?
Okay, newborn, a rocket.
Okay.
Someone gave me a rocket and I was like, what is this? And then like basically you put it on your pram and then it rocks.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law was like, Geri, your pram's moving? I was like, no, it's intentional. It's intentional. But definitely newborn rocket. And then I think now he's a bit older, just like teething toys, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
very basic.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
One lesson you hope to pass on to your child.
So this is like, so he's a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing up a good man in this world is like something I really, really would like to do, really.
Yeah.
And you know, especially when you see things like adolescence and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I just want him to be a kind man to women and to respect women.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is through like the lesson of leaning into the feminine side of his energy, because we all have feminine and masculine, right?
Yep, that's true.
And I don't want him to be afraid of that. I want him to be empowered by that and see that as a strength and not a weakness.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think, just being aware of his energy is something I really want to pass on.
Okay. All right, amazing, Geri. Thank you so much for your time
Thank
today.
you so much. And
no, I think it's been I think super key and super vital just to really highlight to people that we are all going through different phases and different shifts in our lives. And it's important to make sure we're talking, important to have empathy for each other, and also not be offended or upset by boundaries that are set.
Yeah.
You know, we all do that, so why wouldn't you? I guess, so as I say that, I'm thinking of any actor who's like, yeah, but my agent's like, no, your agent is doing their stuff. It's fine. Yeah, okay.
Well, I've loved it. Thank you so much.
No
And
worries
so
at all.
has baby.
And that's a wrap on this honest chat with Geri Spicer. From the realities of maternity leave to the hopes and questions around returning to work, I hope you found something in her story that made you feel seen. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you are following Milk Mummies and you leave a review and you do all that wonderful stuff. And feel free to share it with a friend who might need to hear this today. Until next time, keep going, keep growing, and remember, motherhood is not a pause, it's a powerful evolution.